Welcome to my channel, The DeAndre Way. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, what's poppin'? You already know what time we on. So today, I'm gonna get right to the point. This video is a lot different than the normal videos that I usually make. I'm gonna talk to you guys today more about me, to get to know me, because I realized when I started this channel, I just started putting up videos, this, that, and the third, and y'all don't really know too much about me personally, except for tidbits that I throw in there when I do interviews or talk about movies or vlog or whatever it is. And I wanted to sit down and tell you guys a bit more about me. And, I post a lot of sports content. That's one of the things I do. And I wanted to give you an insight on why that is and my sports background, particularly following football, because that's a major part of my life and where I came from and kind of where it got me today, following with everything. And yeah, I just want to be able to talk about, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, for you guys to get to know me a little bit better and to see where I'm coming from on a lot of different things. And because I just want to be more transparent with you guys. No, it's been a busy time for me lately, but I've been meaning to get this video out for a while, but life kind of just got in the way. As you can see, I moved into a new apartment. If you use my old videos, finishing that out as we speak. I have a few things coming tomorrow, and hopefully I'm done by this weekend. But that's enough for the intro. I'm gonna dive right into it. And also, I'll mention before I get started, I'm gonna get a little vulnerable on this when it comes to my football life because it's a rocky road. It's a rocky road, but here we go. So, my football journey began when I was in fifth grade. I got asked by my friends to go to practice with him. He didn't tell me practice for what. He said, I think he just said we're going to practice. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going. And then it was football practice. We got there, gave me some pads, helmet, first time putting all this on. Now, I played ESPN 2K5 at the time. And I was familiar with the game. We played it a lot, but I've never tried to play football before. And him and his dad had their own team, and they said, hey, we need another player. And I hated it. I hated it, hated it, hated it. It was terrible. I didn't know how to be aggressive. Couldn't catch. I could run really well. I was pretty fast. That was about it. Didn't have much physicality. Didn't know the game on like the playing level. Watching it and like playing the video game, sure, but it's a whole different story once you put the pads on and you're getting out there. And so, yeah, that first year, it was pretty rough. I played defensive ends. I did not like it. I wanted to quit. The helmet was too tight on my head. I was too hot. I dreaded going to practice. I was not that physical of a kid. I didn't have that umph in me at that point in time. And so the next year I decided to quit. I quit football, didn't play. And then the next year, my friend who got me into the team forced me to play on his dad's team again, but it was a different team. It's because they needed players, and I reluctantly said yes. And I said, "This is the last time I'm playing football." So that season was terrible as well. I was not good. I kind of got a little better at the game, but still, it was because I played a skill position, finally running back, and it was it was terrible. I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. It was horrible. I mean, we played in a pretty ghetto league, I'll say. It was called South Suburban. There was no rules. Kids would come in there, that shouldn't have been playing in our division. Um, though the field was not really taken care of very well. Conditions of practice were terrible. I mean, I had so many mosquito bites, it was ridiculous. And the coach particularly was pretty tough on me. I was not that tough of a kid in that time period. Believe that was my seventh grade year because I could have played for the school, but I didn't want to do that because my friend kind of forced me to play with him. And the coach, yeah, he definitely he instilled the fear of God in me. I mean, the things that could come out of this man's mouth would just be insane. And I thought this dude was the worst kind of person out there. So I said, look, I don't know about football anymore. But I will say at the end of the season, I vividly remember this. I had a couple nice long runs, and I got the confidence from a few people to like, oh, you have some talent and skill. You should continue it. And I was like, we'll see. We'll see. I was just glad when the season was over. Next year comes, eighth grade. All my friends, you know, they play football. And I wanted to be a part of, the team. Just I started enjoying football a little bit more. Playing the video game helped, obviously, and then all my friends who did play, they were pretty good as well. And I was pretty raw still. I haven't really played much, and at the time, this is technically my third year playing, but that's with skipping a whole year and then just getting started from scratch. And eighth grade was it was a wake up call to see where I was at because but till then everyone was on the same team until you get to eighth grade and then you have A team, B team. Now, I made B team and I was pretty distraught because all my friends made the A team. Now, I was one of the better players in the B team. I played tight end and receiver. And yeah, I was still pretty raw. I was getting better, but it really hurt a lot because I just felt like I deserved to be on the A team. But looking back, I probably was where I was supposed to be. And I told myself, hey, I got to really practice this if I want to turn this into something. I didn't really think too much of it. I just wanted to be on the A team. That was what my mind was. I didn't care about anything but that and be with my friends to play. So that whole year goes by. It was a decent year, and we had a decent team. I actually recently just saw one of my friends that played quarterback for the B team. I was with him last night. He was visiting New York, so that was pretty cool. I forgot all about that. But yeah, anywho, played tight end that year. Didn't catch us. I think I caught one touchdown. I think it was one touchdown I caught. Couldn't catch very well. And we didn't throw the ball either, so I was just pretty much running a post route and blocking the whole time. Still was getting my grips, but I kind of like the sport at this point. This is when I'm falling in love with it. With the help of movies like Remember the Titans, Waterboy, etc. And funny, I used Waterboy, Adam Sandler's technique. If you haven't seen the movie, you should definitely check it out. It's a classic. But what he does in the movie is when he is on the field and to get himself pumped and hyped up and enraged, he puts somebody else's head on his opponent's head and pictures them saying something real negative, like, "Oh, your mama is so fat, she couldn't even fit through the damn hallway," or something like that. I don't know the specifics, but I use that technique with things that people said and annoyed me with. There was this girl, some people in my classes, this girl in my class particularly just would piss me off, and I put her head on someone else, and it kind of worked. It was crazy that technique works because my friend kind of like introduced it to me to try it. Because he's like, you just got to get mad. You just got to get mad. I was like, okay. And so it worked. So that helped me with hitting. But I more so played offense in the beginning. Like I said, defensive end first year. Second year, I played running back, and then I played tight end. Eighth grade. Now it's time for ninth grade, high school. It's approaching, and this is when it really gets real. We have summer camp conditioning, all that stuff, and I play running back. I moved back to running back. My high school did not pass the ball at all when I got there. We just ran the ball, ran the ball, ran the ball, ran the ball, ran the ball. We passed maybe 2 times a game. It was crazy. It was some Army Navy settings up in there, and I wanted the ball. I trusted my skill. I was a pretty athletic kid. Played basketball, football, ran track. I want the ball. And so ninth grade year comes, and guess what? I make B team again. Terrible. My confidence is completely shot down. And it's embarrassing too. Yeah, at the time. I don't know how it is today, but at the time it was pretty embarrassing to make B team. Like I said, all my friends again were on the A team, and it was something I felt like I wasn't at the time. I felt like I wasn't given a fair shot just based on what how my high school basically worked is they looked at the eighth grade team and they kind of put you at a starting spot from where you were then, and I was on the B team, and I wasn't really known in my high school. Some people have older brothers, siblings, they know who they are. Me, I really was just it was just me, you know. I have an older sibling, but he was not giving me any street cred. And so, yeah, I was on B team again throughout the year. I had a great year though. Several touchdowns. Like I was doing very, very well, I will say. It was actually one of the more fun years of me playing football, I'd say. Just because I was one of the leaders on the squad and I got my shine. You know, every time you got a touchdown, they would say your name over the announcements from school the next day. And I heard my name a lot. So people were like, oh my gosh, like you need to be on 18. You need to be on 18. But I never got moved up to 18. So spent the whole year on the B team, worked my way. I knew, eventually my goal at this point in time was to make varsity. I wanted a letterman's jacket. Now I played football and ran track, and my freshman year I actually lettered and ran varsity. So I got my varsity letterman jacket my freshman year, which is very rare. I believe only two guys in my high school got it their freshman year. Me and my other friend back home. He was a soccer player. Yeah, I felt like, that was added some street cred ability to my name. Not too many people could say that. And they put like the number of years on the patches, how many years you lettered, and I was one of the few with four of them. So I felt good about that. You know, track, I was always a good track runner. But and I ran the 400 and 800 for context. But yeah, B team the whole freshman year. Then it's time for my sophomore campaign, and I make sophomore team. Now, my school had a lot of kids, so we had enough for a freshman A team, B team, sophomore team, junior varsity, varsity. So we had five teams. Now, I played a little JV, a little bit, but mostly it was sophomore team. Once again, my friends are playing JV. I'm still stuck in the same spot. And I'm doing everything I can, I think I can at this point. And this is a time where, you weren't getting trainings off YouTube. There weren't trainers that you know around town that were really working with kids like that. It was kind of your high school and that's it. I personally didn't know of anyone else doing anything separate. I didn't my no immediate friends or family had trainers like that. So I could just trust my high school coaches and hopefully they were leading me in the right direction. And I guess my own stuff at home that I did. I did a lot of push-ups. I ran a lot. I didn't really focus on weights except gym class, weight room. But yeah, I was running back once again. And yeah, I did really well. I was scoring a lot of touchdowns once again. That's what I was able to play JV a little bit. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the settings it was for that. I mean, it was similar to the freshman year, except I was just on sophomore year this time. Sophomore team this time. And so, yeah, I knew going into my junior year that I really wanted to play varsity. It was kind of embarrassing not to play varsity as a junior. Uh, you would get looked at as a scrub in this case, and I was not trying to be the laughing stock of the football team. Like only the bad players didn't play varsity as a junior. Like, let's be real. And that was the time to kind of make my mark because at this point in time, you're thinking about college and all these things, and I'm like thinking, I kind of want to play football. I think I might want to play football in college. I kind of made my mind up my junior year, like that's kind of my goal is to play D1 football. And so junior year comes, I get a lot stronger, faster, and the position I'm playing now is wide receiver and cornerback. And so, actually, I got into cornerback my sophomore year. My gym coach put me at cornerback because they didn't have anyone. I'm gonna rewind a bit. He put me at cornerback one of the games, and my instincts were just like that. Like I was just on the ball because I'm used to having the ball in my hands and playing offense actually helped with the defense because you anticipate what's going on, you know what plays are coming, and it's kind of like it helps a lot, So if any kids that are playing growing up, I suggest they play offense and then go to the defensive side if the offense isn't working out exactly as they want, and they'll probably find some success because I was able to know the mental part. I was really smart. I was a really smart player. That was my best attribute, I'd say, besides speed. Um, I could think really pretty quick on my feet, and I knew what was coming, and I took good angles, and I credit my brain for a lot of my success in football. Um, ways you tackle, ways you fall, just little things, little things. And so, yeah, I played cornerback, and then junior year I played cornerback and wide receiver because I had a new football coach. My old coach retired. He was there for school for a very long time, and I had a brand new coach, and he brought the spread offense to my high school, which was revolutionary because my high school was known for just running the ball, and now we're passing the ball. And I wanted the ball. And knowing that we're in a spread offense now, running backs, we ain't getting the ball as much. So it's time to go to wide receiver. Even though my coaches wanted me to play running back still, I was like, nah, I'll play wide receiver. So junior year comes, and I remember the first day of camp. I believe I was the seventh string cornerback, seventh or eighth string. I was pretty bottom of the barrel of the depth chart because how my high school worked with the depth chart is the kids who did good in the drills, they're the ones who got put on the top of the depth chart unless you played last year. Now, drills weren't my specialty back in the day. I'm not gonna care. I was not good at the drills. And so, yeah, I was at the bottom. But something magical happened that year. That camp, I was pretty much done. I was like, there was no chance of me playing varsity. Zero at the beginning of camp. Back in the day, we had two-a-days. So this is, they don't do two-a-days anymore. But back in the day, we had two-a-days. And I got moved all the way up to the first one in. So second string, but the first one in the cornerback room. And that is because some kids missed practice. Some kids got hurt. Some kids quit. Like it was every day it was like somebody else didn't show up or somebody was late or something happened to this person. And I was playing well as well. But it's just like these kids set themselves up for failure by just not doing what they were supposed to be doing. And I was the beneficiary of that. Looking back, it was luck that that happened on my side, or else if everyone came and showed up and did what they were supposed to do, it would have been a tall task for me to actually get moved up. So I thank all those kids. That was the start of like my official football career. Like, okay, it's time because I was playing varsity and it was everything I wanted. Like I all went back to my freshman year, I just wanted to play varsity. And I was in the game. I was in the game playing coach. Like I wasn't starting yet, but I was pretty much in the game every single game. Um, and so yeah, the season starts and I play every single game. I'm in the game a lot. I believe I get a block punt the second game, deflecting passes. I played a tiny bit of wideout that year. Offense was lacking that year, I will say. Um, but because we had a lot of kids who wanted to play, like we had a lot of offensive people, so it was tough to crack that. And then I'm not some phenom. I was not some phenom either. I didn't grow into my own until my senior year, which we'll get there. But yeah, junior year, I say very successful. I got taste of varsity. Finally, I'm with my friends. Finally, I am with my friends. And I couldn't feel any happier. Junior playing varsity, you got another year ahead of you. You're the man. I was feeling myself. I'm not gonna cap. And so the years okay. We have so also I should mention our football team was pretty terrible. Coaches could have used a little. It was a combination of coaches and players. I won't put it all on the coaches, but just we were not one cohesive unit. And when you have a school that has a reputation of being a bad football team, it's really hard to turn that around. It's really hard just to get everyone to buy in because you go in the game automatically thinking, oh, we're going to lose this game. And that's not the attitude to have. But my class, particularly, we knew that we were very special, and we knew once we were seniors, we were going to take over and have one of the better seasons of my school's existence, which we did at the time. Since then, no, like they have been way better than we have. But anywho, I'm getting off track. Junior year, success. I counted it as a big success. I made varsity. We're in the game, making tackles. I actually tackled something. Trey Millard, NFL player, tackled him. Uh, Nathan Shieldhouse, Simone Award winner, Illinois QB, tackled him. I was doing my thing. I'm not gonna cap. I was doing my thing. So anywho, junior year goes by. Time for senior year. Now, before my senior year happened, my coach he said, "Hey, do you want to play college football? And I was like, I was kind of, my attitude was, I didn't want to ask for anything. This is how I thought. I didn't want to ask for anything. I wanted them to come to me when it comes to like offers and schools. I didn't know how the whole process worked. I'm the first one in my family to go to sports and go to college and play sports. But at the time, I had no idea what the process worked. I thought literally they just came to your high school, they sent you letters, and offered you a scholarship. I had no clue about camps. I had no clue about recruitment. I had no clue about pretty much anything. I mean, I was Googling like random websites and signing my name up on things and this, that, and the third. And the summer before my senior year, my dad took me to a camp at Mid American Nazarene in Kansas, a small D3 school. And I did a camp there. Yeah, a camp. And it was kind of combine, you bench press, run a 40, cones, etc. And I did really well at this camp. I did pretty well. So, and then this time I was good at the drills now. Drills was my thing at this point. But yeah, the camp went really well, and I didn't think too much of it. I mean, I just went. That was it. And all of a sudden, I started getting letters in the mail. You know, Kansas, K-State, Mizzou. Those are the main three, and then a whole bunch of other D2 schools around the Midwest. Um, and I was shocked. And I was like, wow, I'm getting all these letters. And this is summertime as well, too, because that camp was early in the summertime. But I was just shocked. I'm like, wow, like I'm getting recruited by Mizzou. Like this is huge. That was the main one that was sending me all this stuff. And it was kind of my vision was becoming a reality. Like I thought it, but I ultimately deep down I just had no clue of how that worked because honestly nobody in my high school really went D1 either in football. Everyone played, Northwest Missouri State. I'm from Kansas City. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. But Northwest Missouri State, all these D2 schools, Central Missouri, Missouri Western. I didn't have that vision of people going D1 that's in my somewhat immediate sight or circle. So I didn't have the vision of that becoming a reality. And I guess this is a form of representation. I didn't have any representation seeing going D1 that I knew. Like I knew some people who knew people that was D1, but I couldn't see it. And if I couldn't, for me, sometimes back then, if I couldn't see it, I couldn't really believe it. And so I didn't know if it was possible. I thought, maybe the best I can do is Northwest Missouri State, and I could be comfortable with that. Even though deep down I did not want that because I did not want to be like everybody else. So my goal was D1 or bust. And I really couldn't picture my life in college without playing sports at this point in time. I mean, I was all state in track, and I wanted to do track in college as well. But all state in track, played varsity already my junior year, basketball. I was ready to continue my sports. I mean, that's all I was known for too. My identity was sports. Like this is the guy that plays all the sports, and everyone knew that. And so I did not want to be a failure, and I wanted to, I kind of had my sights on the NFL. Like if I'm being real, going into my senior year is like, yeah, like I want to try and make the NFL. Even though I had no idea how the college process worked. Zero clue. Zero. I was very green in that matter. One thing I kind of wish I did back then was inquire more, ask more questions, but I was shy to the point of like, I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't want to seem like I didn't want to open myself and be vulnerable and show kind of that emotion of like, hey, I really want to do this. I care about this because showing emotion was not like, and showing that you care about things wasn't really the coolest thing in my space. I know it sounds toxic as hell. It is toxic. Do what you got do go follow your dreams and speak it and tell your peoples around you what you're trying to do because maybe they have an insight. And luckily my coach did have an insight too, and he was like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to play college football, so we started reaching out to other schools. But anywho, yeah. Went to the camp, got offers from Mizzou, and another thing that happened that summer was K-State was having a camp, and I knew some kids going to that, but the camp cost like $300 or $400. So I asked my father, I'm like, hey, I want to go to this camp. Can you take me? I don't have enough money at that point. I worked a job, but I didn't have that kind of money. And my father said, no, I'm not going to take you. And it kind of crushed me because it was, you know, I found out after that camp, people went, they got scholarship offers. Yeah. So that really sucked. I felt like opportunities were being ripped away from me by, my family at that point, just because I didn't tell them my goals either, really. Like, we never really talked about, do you want to play football in college? I did my dad a little bit, but it never got super deep. It was kind of like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I was kind of like a lone ranger in college, and it's just that's kind of how it was. I mean, I was on my own, you know. But anywho, or in college, in high school. But yeah, I didn't have any backup. I should have honestly looking back, I had some friends' parents who might have helped me out at that. No, I don't know about the drive out there because it's 3 hours from Kansas City, but yeah, that's kind of a thing I wish I was able to go to because I had high confidence in myself at this point. Once I got these letters, I was feeling myself. I was like, okay, I'm the man. It's time because I didn't know anybody else at my school that was getting letters from Mizzou or K State or KU. Nobody. I didn't know anyone else. But the thing is, I didn't talk to anyone else about these letters really either. So I kept it really close to my chest. Only a couple people knew what was going on. Um, because they were sending me a lot of letters. Like, I'm not home right now. They're up here in Kansas City. I'm in New York. But if I had it with me, I could just pull them out. Boom, boom, boom. Every week they were sending me some. So I'm like, oh, they're serious. They're trying to give me a scholarship. But it was more of a general recruitment letter. But they did. Well, I'll get there. So, anyways, summer junior year is over. It's time for senior year. It's time to ball out. It's time to my thought process in this time is I thought, hey, if I ball out my senior year, I'm gonna get this scholarship offer. That's what I'm thinking. Because my junior year I did okay, but I wasn't doing like good enough to be getting no D1 scholarship offers. I wasn't. But it's time. Senior year. Let's go. Starting cornerback on the team. Wide receivers, backup wide receiver. Like, it is time. I had big goals and I was planning on being a starting wide receiver. Couple things that happened. Uh, Now, the season as a whole, I won't take too much time with this, but the season as a whole, it was average season. It was up and it was down. I mean, the first game of the season, I had a wide open touchdown, dropped the pass. I had a touchdown the jamboree. The first game of the season, wide open, time to make my mark, bloop, dropped the ball. But that same game, I almost took two kick returns to the crib. I was doing great on defense. We lost the first game, but it was kind of up and down game. I got clowned that next week at school for dropping a wide open pass to get a touchdown. And the thing was, looking back, I had these cutters, and cutters are a certain brand of glove. And my friends was like, "Oh, cutters are the best, cutters are the best, cutters are the best." But I used these different gloves all summer long that I was catching everything. Like, oh, my hands was butter. And I switched because I was like, "Oh, let me get the fresh gloves for the season and get these cutters." But they were trash. They were trash. The ball like slicked off the gloves, and I didn't realize this until the end of the season. So my receiving career did not go well that season, to say the least. But I had a pretty good defensive season. I only had 2 picks. They didn't throw to my side very much, but I only had 2 picks. I had a ton of tackles. Like, I was a good tackler. Like, forced fumbles, every fumble recoveries, everything. And I was a kick returner as well, and punt returner. So I had a lot of responsibilities on the team. Well, punt returner a couple times. I mostly returned kicks because I wasn't trying to get blown up. But yeah, so the season went quality. It didn't go as well as I initially planned. I had high hopes. I was trying to be all state and make my mark and all these other things. But that did not happen. I was just honorable mention all conference. And that kind of broke me when I found out. I remember that day. It was very disheartening, my soul hurt because it kind of felt like my dream was being ripped away from me before, without any control because I feel like I played rather well. But I didn't have the stats to back it up as much, with the entirety of things because the opposite cornerback on my team, he had like, I don't know, 6 picks, 7 picks. I mean, he got a lot of picks, and they was throwing his way a lot more than mine. So even my coach was like, "Damn, they never throw your way. They never throw your way." And I was like, "Yeah, I can't do anything about it." And how the conference works is the coaches vote on the players, and so they just didn't vote for me. So it sucked. It sucked really, really bad. I was so destroyed on that. But football season's over. But during football season, actually, I forgot to mention this. 'Cause this is a big part of the story. I was getting recruitment letters during the season from Mizzou in particular, and they were inviting me to the games. And so how it worked was we had a game on Friday, obviously, and then Saturday, the college football games, and I would get invited to the games as a recruit. Nobody else on my school was having this. Nobody, because I would have seen them there. I was the only one, and I didn't tell anyone I was doing this. And back then we didn't have like Instagram, Twitter, like what you weren't Snapchat. You weren't able to like post where you was at, or else people would know where I was at. But I just went and that was it. I didn't have anything to document these things for social media. We had Facebook, but I wasn't posting like, oh, I'm at the Mizzou game because my father's like, oh, you can't tell anyone you're going or else they're gonna get jealous and they're gonna figure out a way to come and blah blah blah. I'm like, I believed him at the time. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't tell anyone because they would probably get jealous and all these other things. I mean, he even told me not to invite one of my friends because Mizzou might look at him and recruit my friend over me. So, and we weren't even in the same grade. So I was not given the best advisory growing up. I'm not gonna cap, I wasn't. I love my parents dearly, but I was not given any kind of help, any kind of knowledge, really. And I didn't tell my coaches either because, which I was a mistake too. If I told them, they might have been able to help me out more so. But I just thought, because the thing is, if we lost the game on Friday, we would have Saturday practice, and I wouldn't be able to go to the game. And I can't say, oh, I'm not going to the game because I'm going to Mizzou. Then they're like, oh, really? And so, yeah, looking back, maybe they would have been like cool with it and they would have been happy with it. But in my brain, I thought they weren't going to be cool with it. So, but luckily, surprisingly enough, we won all the games that I had college visits to. I think it was 4 games I went to, 4 or 5 games. And so we won all the games, luckily enough. And so I got to go to all the trips. I mean, I even went to OU, Mizzou, 2010 when Mizzou stormed the field. They beat OU. And OU was number one. I believe they had Sam Bradford, and Mizzou had Blaine Gabbert. And that was one of the most insane experiences I've ever seen at that point in time. And so I kind of got the full college atmosphere. And, my dad went with me every single time to these games. And he didn't really know too much either. He was kind of just assuming like he knew things, but he didn't really know what was going on either. But yeah, it was a great time. And I was like, wow, like I'm in it. Like I could be here next year doing this exact same thing. And so the year wraps up, and it's time to go on visits. So back then, like how a lot of worked is like after the football season was over, then you kind of got a lot of letters or letters from other schools and inquiry through your coaches for that they sent out feelers to all the schools around if they weren't looking for you. And so a lot of D2 schools, a lot of D3, K-State had a little bit of interest, Mizzou obviously, and KU a tiny bit as well, but that was mostly it. And what happened is I started taking these visits to these D2 schools, and my whole idea was like, I'm all state in track as well at this point too. So I wanted to follow in the footsteps of Deion Sanders. He ran track and played football in college, and I wanted to always be a little bit different than everybody else. I wanted to do a little bit more than everyone else. My body, I put a lot of pressure on my body back then. Yeah, I still do now, but even more, I pushed it to the absolute tilt. The tilt. And I was like, I want to do football and run track in college. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm only doing that, and that's it. Because in my feeble mind, in my feeble head, I was like, oh well, if I do track in college, the football coaches will love that. They'll love that because I'm out here working it. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. God, I was so stupid. Anyways, that was my mind and my train of thought. So I went to K-State, actually had a visit there, and for the track school, and the track coach liked me a lot. I had to get my times a little bit down for them to give me the scholarship offer, which in the spring season. But the football team coach wasn't really checking for me like that once he found that I was trying to do track. So he's like, no, we're not doing that. And it was Bill Snyder at the time. I actually got to meet and talk with him for a little bit. Great dude. Um, but yeah, they once they found the track thing, he kind of like put me in a different category and kind of just disiluded me. And I wasn't able to go to the camp because he's like, "Oh, why weren't you at the camp last summer?" Well, my dad. But yeah, so I went visit there, and that kind of happened. And then a few other schools, and then I had a visit to Missouri Southern State University in Joplin, Missouri. And I went down there reluctantly. I did not want to go. I never even heard of this school before. My parents kind of forced me to go because they offered me a scholarship in the mail. And my parents like, "Oh, they want to come out. We should go down and visit." So I went down, saw them. First night out being hosted. That was my first college visit being hosted, I'd say. And boy, was it a night. I mean, first time being around Four Loco. First time being around that much people like smoking and drinking all at once, like heavily getting me involved. I was not a drinker in high school, and I was exposed to it in this night. First night going to pretty much a club, all these things. It was kind of bonkers because my host didn't, he was just out there trying to have me have a good time. He didn't really, they didn't really seem to care about me that much. They just was like, okay, we're getting a stipend because we're hosting this recruit because they got paid. You get paid to host recruits. And so I was not having the best of time. I made a couple friends down there, but and this one girl who was kind of like my caretaker because she knew like I was green and very, wet behind the ears. And so she took care of me, thankfully, and I was somehow able to make it back to the hotel that night. And I did not like the vibe of the school. I did not like the vibe of the town. I did not like the vibe of the people. Met with the football coach and track coach down there. They both offered me money, both of them. So I was getting paid. I was basically making money like NIL to go to that school. And, well, if I decided to. And I just did not want to be D2. There's this big sign they have in all the D2 schools, like, I chose D2, or you chose D2, or something like that. And I just thought it was demeaning and degrading. I was like, I don't want to be D2. And there's nothing wrong with D2. There's nothing wrong with it. But in my mind, I just had different vision for my future. I always wanted to go to a big school. Like I since junior year of high school, I wanted to go to big school. That's kind of just what I had in my mind. And UNC was my favorite school at the time, but they wasn't checking for me. Let's be real. So, we were leaving the school and the coach offered me, they're like, "Hey, we would love to have you on the team. Here's a scholarship offer. Do you want to take it?" And I said, "I need to think about it." Now, my parents were like, jaws were dropped. I mean, they're offering me thousands of dollars, and my parents would look at me turn this money down, and they didn't know what to think. Like, and then we were on the car ride back home, and we're about 45 minutes out, and they're just like, "Are you sure you should have did that? I think you should have accepted that offer. They were really nice down there. They were really nice. They were really this. They were really that." And I'm just like, I don't want to do it. And then my dad's like, "I think you're making a mistake." My mom's like, "I don't know. They're really nice. They seem like they treat you well." And I was like, and like, "You might not get another offer." And so I said, "Turn the car around. Let's go back and I'll sign it. I'll sign the contract." Oh, turmoil, turmoil, y'all. I went back and we signed the contract. Now, this was kind of like an NIL deal to an extent. We couldn't sign it yet, but it was like a different type of contract where you're accepting the scholarship offer that they're giving you, but it wasn't like the national letter of intent. But I signed it, and that was it pretty much. Yeah, I was not happy. I did it based off peer pressure, and I felt sick to my stomach because just deep down I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. But I said, hey, they're giving me money to go to this school for track and football. Maybe it'll be okay. I looked up, there was a famous NFL player by the name of Rod Smith who went to Missouri Southern State University. I looked him up, followed his, looked everything about him up, and He went to the school 4 years, made it to the NFL. Amazing career. So I was like, maybe I can be the next him. That was the shining example I had, and I could, maybe use to get out of this. And so the rest of my senior year goes by, finishing up, the seasons and whatnot in school year, and do summer training. Terrible summer training with this random trainer my father got me into. That guy did not know what he was doing. He just had me doing a whole bunch of, you get there's some trainers that just do random strange things. Oh, jump up and down 20 times and then run 5 laps. Do step ups and then crunch it. Like just random stuff. Run miles when I'm trying to get ready for football. We didn't know speed training. Yeah, it was stupid. I mean, my father got me into that, and yeah, it was not. I mean, it was better than nothing, I guess, but it was basically glorified conditioning. No skill work whatsoever. And I was going down there to play defensive back. So senior year ends, summer ends, and it's time to go down to the school. Now, I did not. They asked me to come spend the summer down there. I said, nah, I ain't doing it. Because the thing is, that spring, a big tornado ripped through the city, destroyed everything in sight. Half the city is gone. I'm not exaggerating. Look up the Joplin tornado of 2011. Your jaw will be dropped. And that made me not even want to go to school anymore. And the back in my head, I was like, oh, maybe it burned the football stadium down, so I can't go there and I can leave and I don't have to go to the school anymore. I was thinking that. But no, the school did not get touched. It was just the city. I was like, no, why? God, dang, that dang tornado. But yes, it tore through half the town. The town is a shell of what it once was. And so I did not spend the summer down there because I just did not want to be in a town. It was first time away from home, summertime, my last summer at home with friends and before college, and I just did not want to spend it down there. I didn't want to do that at all. But fall comes and it's time to go, fall camp, and we get down there. And lo and behold, we get there. First time I like cried because in a long, well, I didn't cry very much, but cried being alone for the first time. And football is going. Fall camp starts. A big awakening for me. I playing with people that big and that strong, and D2 they're just as strong as D1. I will say that. Like the strength is there. I think it's just a matter of the skill. But there were a lot of players on that team that could have played D1, but it's more so the grades. A lot of D2 kids, they can play D1, but it's a lot of the grades, to be honest with you. A lot of people from Texas was there, and it's just I've never been around people from like all these different places and these different attitudes and just this different aura. And I was just so uncomfortable and the thing is actually I was uncomfortable with the presence of a lot of personalities, but I had a great freshman camp. My freshman camp was amazing, actually. My coach loved me. I did really well. Now I was weak as hell, but I was killing it. And at the end of camp, they pick who's gonna play in the games and who's gonna redshirt. And there were only about 3 freshmen that played, I believe, and I thought I was gonna be one of the freshmen that played because I was killing it. But my coach said, no, DeAndre, you will be redshirting this year. And that broke my soul down because I had a vision of me getting 4 years and out. I did not envision being redshirted at all in college. That was not part of the plan either. And so I looked at him like, really? And he's like, well, do you think you should be playing? And at that moment, I should have said, yes, I do. But I didn't say anything. I just kind of just sunk in my seat and just put my head down. My confidence was where it's at now. My confidence is completely different from now and back then. I did not have a bunch of confidence in myself in my voice, in my opinions. I kind of just trusted others' judgment more than myself. Yeah, which I wish I could change about myself back then because I won't say I was unconfident. I was just unsure of the soil that I stood on in the 10 toes. But Yeah, I should have said something back then. And my coach loved me still. Like, he was great. So we go through the season, redshirt season, trash, and I had a separated shoulder and practice and a whole bunch of other just BS going on. But football season goes through, terrible season. We won like 2 or 3 games. And at the end of the year, my coach gets fired. He gets fired. Freshman year, coach gets fired. I'm like, okay, it's my chance to get up out of here. But back then they're like, not so fast. You got a new coach coming in. I met him. He's like, I want you guys all here. We're gonna put you guys through tryouts, and everyone's gonna start from scratch. And I'm like, okay, maybe if we all start from the same level, because when you get there as a freshman, you're already put at the bottom. But when you're starting at the same level with a new coach, it's fair play. Well, and I'm not gonna get covered too much on the track part because I was running indoor track in the winter and early spring, and then outdoor track in the spring, and that was hell on earth. Now I did run in the conference meet, get all conference my freshman year in track, but that was hell on earth, hell on earth. Running football and doing track, especially mid distance. I did 400, 600, 800. Not the move. Not for me. It was horrible. The one of the hardest years of my life. That spring was one of the hardest 2 3 week stretches ever. Running at 6 o'clock in the morning, then going to weights, then class, then track practice, then football practice right after for 2.5 weeks straight. Scrimmages in the morning on Saturdays, then you go straight to a track meet. Oh yeah, and my football and track coach didn't like that I was playing the other sport. New football coach who doesn't know a thing about me, on my ass, doesn't like me that much. I'm not that strong still. Like, I'm still weak as hell. And, I'm getting a little pushed around, but I'm tired because of track. I have no energy. And then my track coach, he's on my ass. We and him did not see eye to eye at all. It was just, I wasn't used to the way he spoke. He kind of was getting a lot of tough love, and I just never had to deal with that at that point coming from a coach. It was more positive reinforcement, and I never dealt with, well, aside from when I was like fifth grade, eighth grade football, but the college, he just didn't seem like he liked me, and it was a lot of sass at me. But it was just tough love, like he's a good dude. Looking back, like he did a good job, but I couldn't see it, and so yeah, it was miserable. I had a miserable time. That spring semester, I hated my life. I wanted to leave. I cried myself to sleep some nights. I went on long walks alone, just trying to mentally be okay. People there, I mean, I had friends at the school, but I didn't think they were friends like that. I didn't think people cared about me like that. So I'm ready to get out. And at the end of the season, all right, the spring season, my football coach comes to me and says, "Hey, we might need to pull some of your money off your scholarship and give it to somebody else." I was like, "Huh? You're gonna do what? With who?" He's like, "Well, yeah, like some people, they played better in the spring, and I think they deserve it." And I'm like, "So you're gonna take that away from me when we haven't even had like a fall camp yet? You're just basing off one semester of spring practice." Oh yeah, I was doing track as well. And so once he said that, I'm like, "Look, dude, I'm out." And so it's funny when it was time to, when spring was over and, he said he was going to do that. I was like, I had my mind made up. I'm out of here. I'm not doing it. And also, I'll rewind. In that fall, when we had a bye week, I was able to go up to Mizzou to check out one of the games because my friend who I played with in high school was actually playing for Mizzou. He was the kicker. And, when I went up to Mizzou, I've been up there before, like I said, in high school, but as a college student, and I was actually like among the other kids, I was just like, man, even if I didn't play football here, I'd still want to go here. Because when I visited Mizzou as a recruit, we didn't really go on campus too much. We just toured the facilities and went to the games, and that's pretty much it. I didn't get to see campus like that. And that visit my freshman year going up there was just kind of mind blowing to the point of, man, my college sucks compared to this college. It sucks. I mean, you go to a college and they're wearing other colleges' paraphernalia, your college ain't really all that special. So, yeah, my mind, like, changed my view on like college in general. I wanted a good college experience. I didn't want to go to college and regret my time there. I didn't want to go there and be like, man, my college was okay. It sucked. I still played sports, but I didn't really get the real college authentic experience. And I wanted more out of college than just playing football as well. Like I wanted to join clubs, groups, maybe fraternity, like a whole bunch of things. I had big ambitions and meet people. And at the school I was at, it was just nobody cared. No, everyone's talking mess on their own school. It was just toxic. So, anyways, I made the decision to transfer. I called my football coach and told him, "Hey, thanks for everything, but I'm gonna transfer, and that's it." And his reaction was not the reaction I thought I was gonna get. I thought he was gonna be like, "Cool, thanks, bye." Are you sure? Do you really want to do that? We really want you here. We really want you here. I was like, "What? You haven't been cool to me all spring, and now you want me to stay here?" Well, and he got quiet. Like I don't even know what to say. Like he got quiet and was upset. Like he felt bad. It sounded like he felt bad because I didn't know if he expected somebody to actually like leave. Because it took some nuts to leave. I'm not gonna cap. Like at an 18, 19-year-old kid to call a college football coach and tell him, "Hey, I'm leaving." Nowadays they just leave. They don't even tell the coach. They just get up and leave. But I called this dude on the phone and told him this. Because you couldn't just get up and leave. I thought, I had to let him know. And so, they had to release you from the team. And I had to go up to the office and release them. And everyone was looking at me. All the compliance people were looking at me sideways, like, "Oh, you're leaving?" And I'm like, "What are you guys looking at me like that for?" People leave all the time. Um, so, yeah, I told him I'm out. And so I was out. The thing is, I didn't tell a single person I was leaving either. Not one person. No teammates, no friends. Zilch, zatch, zope, nope. Because I didn't want nobody asking me questions. I didn't want people running their mouths. That was it. I'm out. And so it's funny because people ask me like, "Oh, where you living next year? Where you living next year?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out." I just kept saying that until it was time to go. When that day, when I got in my truck and took all my stuff back home, Lord, it was one of the happiest days of my life. One of the happiest. I knew I was never going back to that place ever again, at least as a student. I've driven past there a couple times since, but I was not going back. And so, yeah, also had to tell my track coach. Now, the track coach, I told him too, but he was like running and hiding from me as I was trying to find him and like tell him like, "Hey, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back," because I didn't like his ass either. And so he kind of ran from me and like I don't know. It was a weird situation. I called him, wasn't picking up the phone. I left him a message saying, "Hey, thanks for everything, but I'm out of here," like a whole nine, and he just was not being responsive. So I got up out of there, and I was like, "Fine, I'm leaving. Like I don't care. I don't even need to tell you anything." So I left, and at the time, I knew it was transfer rules back in the day, whereas if you transfer, then you have to sit out a year. It wasn't like nowadays where you can just transfer and just play immediately, which I should have been like that back then, but it wasn't. So I knew I was going to transfer to Mizzou. That was the only option. I spoke with the coach that summer, and he's like, "Yeah, come on down. We'd love to have you." And I would have to be a walk on, of course, because, I didn't go there initially, and it's not like they're going to give some kid who didn't even play football pretty much the last year a scholarship. Um, Even though I had good, I had practice tape, all these other things, but that's not how the business works. So went up to Mizzou. I knew I had to sit out the fall semester because that's just the rules. And so I pretty much it's time to transfer up to Mizzou, get there. And not really part of the team. Like I'm going to be with the team, but I couldn't be with the team that fall semester. So actually that was a semester I was kind of a normal student. And I still had my eyes set on football. Like that was it. Like I was there to play football instead of just go to school. But it was a quality year, I think. I mean, learning, being at Mizzou was just a cool in itself, and just having the college experience that I always wanted. And I did a lot of things, joined groups and made a lot of friends. Went out, had a great time. But spring semester comes, it's time to come back to football. And so, man, this is a lot longer than I thought it would be. Sorry if I'm taking so long, y'all, but I'm trying to give you all the details and get a little bit about me. But yes, it's time for the spring semester, and I'm a sophomore at this time in college, and we're on and popping. I'm with the team. It's time to practice. It's time to make my mark. Journey to NFL begins now. So I thought. So we get there, we gotta basically do this thing called Gun Club. It's where all the new people on the team go, and they gotta do all this extra training and learn the program, yada yada yada. And I'm playing safety, and we're going through spring camp. Now, spring camp is only 15 practices, so you only get a limited amount of time. Um, and when you're brand new, you're trying to learn everything. You got to pick up things quick because you're already at a deficit, especially as a walk-on. You are at a deficit. You do not get treated the same. You do not get the same privileges. You don't get the same opportunities. So you cannot afford to make any mistakes. There is zero room for error. Zero. And I'm not exaggerating that because they will get you out of here with the swiftness, whether that be not showing up to class, grades, performance, anything. You got to be on top of it. And I knew I had that pressure on me, but I was ready. And we go through fall camp. It's a quality camp for me. I feel like it's pretty good. My coach at that time, my defensive backs coach, his name was Alex Grinch. And the head coach is Gary Pinkel for context. Alex Grinch, he's known in the college football world. He's coached at obviously Mizzou, Oklahoma, Washington State, USC. Like he's coached at a lot of big places. And he was a safeties coach. He was, you knew were young. He was a young coach. I won't say newer, young coach. He was pretty tough. He was kind of reminding me of my old track coach at Missouri Southern. And he respected me, I think, but he didn't really take a big liking to me. I don't think. We just never had that connection. And so, at the end of spring, he's like, "You might want to transfer schools because I don't think you'll play here." Another gut punch. A lot of gut punches, y'all. Look. A lot of gut punches is going on right now. I am sore. But yes, he said that, and I didn't really know what to say. I was kind of like, but I just got here. What do you mean, leave? And he said, like, well, we'll help you find another school, blah, blah. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I was shocked. And so I didn't care what he said. I was going to prove him wrong. I was going to prove him wrong. So that's because I was still weak at the time. And so that summer, my biggest deficit was strength. I was weak. I could only bench 225 like 4 times. And we tested a lot at Mizzou. At the D1 schools, they will have your BMI, your bench, your 40 speed, all your statistics are up for everyone to see every single day, especially these coaches. And if you're not up to the mark, then you're not gonna make the cut. And so I knew like I had to get bigger, faster, stronger. I had to get everything because I was a quality player, but I didn't have the other intangibles that went along with being a D1 SEC football player. And so that summer, I did my own training session. I got serious and I was doing 2 a days, 3 days sometimes, every day. And I gained 15 pounds of muscle that summer, one of my more prouder summers, and it was time. And so fall comes, and what do they do with certain players? Like I'm like on the fringe level to where at the time to where it was like I was I was still on the team, but I had to like start over from scratch again, basically. And they only invite certain amount of people to fall camp, and that year I did not get invited to my fall camp because there was only a maximum amount of spots, and I did not get one of these spots. And but when fall camp was over, and this was a big break. This is about a big breaking point. So I'm ready to go and whatnot. It's fall camp. Once fall camp's over, then they can bring the additional players on, like me, i.e., me and a handful of others. And so it's time to go back. I show up and I get told that we don't have a spot for you, DeAndre. And that was pretty much it. Now, my life flashes before my eyes. My football life flashes. I go home that day. I sit in my room and I am sulking. It is bad, coach. And it's like, it's a hot fall day. Hot fall day. And I think I'm just laying down for like an hour, maybe not 2 hours, and I don't know what to think. And so I prepare myself, say, hey, like, I guess it's time. I guess maybe I'll just be a regular student. And so this is a Monday. I got told this too. So next day comes, I actually meet with some friends, and I told them, like, hey, like, I might be done with football. I might be doing a regular, being just, regular. So, I mean, I have time to do all these other things. And I get home that day from class, and I get a phone call from one of the coaches. And he says, hey, DeAndre, a spot opened up. Do you want it? You're playing cornerback now. And I took a second. I said, when do I need to be there? He's like, tomorrow. But you actually should come up today and finish with practice and whatnot. Like, they wanted me to come up immediately. And I said, give me 1 second. So I hung up the phone real quick. And I said, can you give me 5 minutes? I just need to make a quick phone call real quick. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Call my father, consult with him. I'm like, should I do this? Should I put my mind? Because the thing is, I was mind screwed at this point. You got to think, like, I was just told, like, my college career is over. I'm done. Well, at least here at Mizzou. And back then, it's not easy. It's not so easy back then to just get up and transfer. Like I just got to the school. I'm not trying to pick up and take everything else somewhere else. I don't know how these kids do it nowadays, where they just transfer. I don't know how they do it, but it's not easy. Like I want to stay at one spot and build something, not just keep going from place to place to place to place to place. Like that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I envisioned me doing at all. And I wasn't planning on leaving. I'm not doing it. So I called my dad anyways and was like, this is what they said. What do you think? He's like, you should do it. This is the opportunity that you've been waiting on and blah, 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 blah. And you need to seize the moment and whatever happens, just go with it, but give your effort and you'd be mad if you didn't even try. So I was like, all right. So I called the guy back. Coach, I'm like, yeah, coach, I'll be up here. So it's time. We back on the squad, y'all. And so it kind of made my mind go all over the place. But I got my hope back. NFL dream ain't dead yet. And so I really was like, okay, I can show with my newfound abilities. I just had this summer workout program to where it's time, coach, it's time. So we get back up there, and the fall season is commencing. Now I know I'm not going to play. I have to get reacclimated with everyone else. It's fall season. Like you're not just gonna walk in as some random and just dominate and start taking over. But that fall season was a crazy one. I mean, I actually got somehow moved up to third in the depth chart that fall based on just practice. Other things happen like insinuating circumstances happened. Like, I remember my sophomore year in college or high school or junior year in high school. Some insinuating circumstances happened again to where I knew I wasn't going to play, but I was like, if something happened, I had to be ready. And so, which was unlikely, and that something did not happen. But I was still like in the mix going into spring, which was what it was. And that's fall season. We won the SEC East, went to the Cotton Bowl, won the Cotton Bowl. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy season. Like one of the most crazy seasons in Mizzou history. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of it. So I'm always blessed with that experience. And so I had to talk with my position coach after at the bowl game, and he's like, "Hey, you're going to be competing for a spot in the fall, so just letting you know, get your stuff together," because he knew I had talent. Like they don't bring people on. Okay, let me specify this. In my specific position, I have no ties to the school. When I say ties, I mean like my parents didn't go there. I don't have a friend that's a coach or a relative that's a coach. I don't have ties like that or booster parents as a walk on. And the funny thing is though, I'm gonna like go off course real quick. Mizzou actually did offer me a scholarship. Mizzou offered me a scholarship on National Signing Day, my senior year of high school. The recruiting coach knows this. You want to know why I didn't accept this offer? My father didn't tell me about it. My father did not tell me about it because I already committed to Missouri Southern before signing my NIL. After I signed it, he was like, "Oh, Mizzou called. They said they want you." Y'all, the amount of anger and frustration that day. It was a snow day too. It ruined my whole day. I was pissed. But things happen for a reason. My year at Missouri Southern sucked, but it did teach me a lot of life lessons and got me really mentally tough. But yes, I just had to throw that tidbit in there because I wasn't like some of these. Let me not say that. I got offered a scholarship. Okay, like it's a little different. Um, and yeah, it just didn't work out. It didn't work out for extenuating circumstances. But anywho, um, yeah. So where was I? Oh yeah. So when it comes to like, people walk-ons on the team, there's select categories. Some walk-ons get on the team because they mom and daddy got money and they're able to pay their boosters on the school and they're able to pay to get their kid on the team. Or maybe they have a famous relative that played for the school once upon a time, so they have that favorability. There's a lot of the circumstances. I saw the circumstances with certain players. I'm not going to get into detail too much, but yeah, some people definitely should not have been on the team at all based on the skill level. Um, it was obvious, but they had backing that afforded them that opportunity. And they were more so there for the experience. Like they didn't care about playing; they just wanted to be on the team. Me, I wanted to play. I was not there for no like, oh, let's just be on the team. No, I want to play and I want to make a mark so I can get on my NFL journey. But anywho, yes. So Cotton Bowl fall season's over. It's time for the spring season. I'm fighting for a roster spot. I am third on the depth chart, which is kind of big. I mean, at the time it's a starting point. It's a quality starting point from where I was at before, like a year ago. Like I was nowhere to be found. I was fifth. Now I'm third. We moving on up like the Jeffersons. And so great, great, great spring camp. Great, amazing. Can't complain too much. Now, when it comes to my position, I had other great players in my position, and I knew, like I said earlier, I can't afford to make any mistakes. Zero. I have this much room for error, and I knew that one bad mistake is like equal to one bad mistake for me is basically 10 bad mistakes. That's just how the coach views it. It was not a fair grading curve because other people would mess up many times and they just be like, okay, well, next. But me, oh, oh, really? Okay. And so it was not a fair grading scale. But anyways, I did my thing in the spring camp. Was a great one. Was killing it. Was killing it. And so it's time for summer workouts. First summer workouts with the team. I get to experience this, and it was a crazy one. Summer's workouts are summer workouts. I ain't gonna say it's crazy, but it's just summer workouts, whatever. We get through it, yada yada yada. Skip that. Fall camp's back, and it's time. This is my shining moment. This is my one shining moment. It is time. I am like two/3 on the depth chart now, and I know for a fact twos play. So if my goal is let me get a two, and then I can work from there. That's all I need is an opportunity. And we was killing it fall camp, y'all. We was killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. I was on it. I was killing it. I'm not gonna cap. I was working it. And then one day we have a scrimmage, and I was with the twos only, and some people took notice, and like that's where my respect started coming from my peers, and people respected me. They knew I was a quality player, but until the coach gives you a chance, then people really can't really envision it, and I was getting this chance, And so, the scrimmage goes well, but I vividly remember there's being this one play in the scrimmage to where one person had the ball and there was maybe like four, I no, 6 or 7, 8 defenders just like all crowding around him, and nobody was like taking him down. He was basically dragging the pile on, maybe like 5, 6 yards. And my coach chewed me out for that so bad. It was me and like many other people, and it's just like, you should have took his legs out. And I'm like, bro, like there was literally 8 people on this dude, and that whole scrimmage, he was basically looking for things to chomp me at the bit on. That scrimmage kind of like ruined me a little bit. I mean, I had a quality scrimmage at the same time. Like it was not anything like bad, but like I said, if I do one thing bad, that's like 10 bad mistakes. So that I mentioned that specifically because that was kind of a turning point because then after that I didn't get that trust and confidence as I once did. And when fall camp was over, I got told that, hey, I want you to play, but I don't know if you're ready. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm clearly ready. We have these things called SEC standards, and it's hitting a certain benchmark on bench press, squats, 40, three cone, five, like all these tests, and you hit these marks, and that'll show like if you're that's the average of what the SEC player at that position usually gets. And I was hitting a lot of those, and so I was doing all that. I was playing well on the field, but it was my status, as a still now I guess prefer walk on to where it's like I don't trust you. And so I had to deal with that. Did not really get to see the field much that season, and it was a long one. I mean, we had a quality season too, so it was like it had some small good moments. Um, and I got on the field a little bit, and being on the field was cool. Like being on a college football field, it's it's a surreal feeling. I got the game action. It's hard to describe. I mean, the thing is like it wasn't nothing like significant happens. I thought it was gonna be like euphoric, but I wasn't there, like I said, to just be on the team. I wanted to make an impact, and I was not really afforded that opportunity, whether I got minutes or not. And the minutes were fine, but it wasn't meaningful. It wasn't. So, yeah, I mean, the season was great. We won the Citrus Bowl that year, but I knew next year it was time, and next year was my senior year. Like, this is my last season. And so it's time to go. I'm like, look, I just got to really just tighten things up a little bit more. And so that's what I did. Tightened everything up. But coaches wanted to play younger players. They wanted to give new people a shot. I'm a senior who does not have a ton of playing experience, and that was used against me. I was a value asset like I was I was a quality player. Like let's not get. I was not a slouch. Anybody on the team can tell you that I was not no slouch in the least bit. Even star players would say that too. And I had players even say in my own position, "Hey, Why isn't McKenzie playing more? Why isn't McKenzie getting a chance over that guy?" I had people say that. Um, but I was kind of depressed that year. That was a tough year for me just because I knew like this might be it. My college career did not go how I wanted it to go. I was not envisioning this. No, this was not the plan from the get-go. A lot of, things didn't happen the way I hoped them would happen. A few things, some things I'll take responsibility. Some things my fault. Maybe I didn't. I felt like I did everything I possibly could. Obviously playing a little better works too. I think the one thing I could improve maybe on was quickness. I was quick, but like I could have been a little quicker, I suppose. But no, my play was well. I was never getting like burnt or embarrassed consistently in any kind of facet. But it was just the lack of trust, and I think I don't live with regrets. Everything happens for a reason. I'm happy to went to Mizzou, and I'm happy with everything how that went. Because oh well, I guess I didn't finish senior. Senior comes, don't similar to junior. Didn't play that much, barely any. And so college season's over, and we had a terrible senior year. Like we went on strike that year too. Like it was a long story. If you ever want to know what happened to the 2015 Mizzou football team, just type in 2015 Mizzou football team. What happened that year? A lot. I won't get into. Maybe another day, but yeah, similar. Low tick, as we call it, clock, playing time. Um, and I felt like my dream was gone. I felt like, is this it? And then it was time for scouts to come because we had a junior day. Well, last year, the year before, we had a junior day, and they came and talked to us all, and talked about senior day and NFL and all these things, yada yada. Well, it's time. I had no, and also senior year, ended up having a second degree ACL sprain, so that really hampered me a lot, and just really kind of brought down my motivation and confidence and all these things, and so I was done. And it's time. Season's over. It's time for the pro day, and I actually graduated in December. So actually, after our football season was over, I graduated and I left. Like I was done, and I was getting calls like, "Are you going to do pro day? Are you going to do pro day?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know. My knee is still messed up. I don't want to like damage it even more, and I don't want to get surgery." And the doctor said I need to just be off of it for months and months. And so I have a choice to. I'm still training as much as I can at this point while I'm working. I have a big boy job now. Well, I was a teacher, and it's pro day time. It's pro day time, and I have a decision to make to go or not. And I started acting. This is when I also started acting too. So like I already been in a couple plays, and um, I've auditioned. I was on a TV show, and things were going well for a person who's brand new in that field. And so to go back into football, I would have to like pretty much stop all that, put a pause to everything I've been working on the past several months or few months, I guess, at that point, and see if this NFL thing can still be a possibility because all the seniors can do pro day. And I knew I had good stats, like testings, and so that could give me a chance. And so I reluctant, but I think with me not having as much playing time as I wanted, I didn't want to be that guy who's like, oh, like what is he doing here? Like why is he running and why is he doing this? And I let those voices kind of get into my head and make me actually say no to doing it. It was a tough decision. I really wanted to do it internally, but I just let the outside voices get in my head way too much and affect that part of me. Because look, I'm somebody who benched 225 17 times. I ran a 4.49 40. I had one of the best three cones. I had one of the best L cones. I squatted over 550 pounds. Like I was cool. I was nice. All right. Like I'm not trying to brag or do anything like that, but I'm just telling you the truth of what was going down. I have the papers to prove it. We have these SEC standard shirts, and they give out 8, 9, 10. I had 9 of them. The only one I didn't get was broad jump because I just did not get the technique down. Um, vertical, 38-inch vertical. Like, what are we talking about? And but anyways, yeah, that was a tough decision because I knew once that was it, then it was semi over. Now I got asked to play Canadian football. Actually, I know a guy who they had a team come down and he knew who I was, and he's like, "Hey, we want you on the Edmonton whatever team. I don't even remember the name of the team. Edmonton something." I was like, "I ain't trying to play no Canadian Football League. Like, if it's NFL or no NFL, I'm not doing Canadian Football League because I know a lot of people who did. Nothing against Canadian Football League, nothing against it all, but I wasn't. That wasn't part of the vision, y'all. Like the vision wasn't vision. The vision's already like blurred as hell. I'm not trying to get it completely on another cycle. Like I'm not doing it. And plus, like I said, I already started another career and working on bigger and better things. And so it's time. Once football's over, I kind of turn into a shell of myself when it comes to football. I don't want to watch it. I can't be around it. I don't want to play it in my free time. I don't even. I can't even think about it because I'm still hurt every time I see it. It reminds me, like, man, that should have been me. I should have did this. That could have been that. It hurts. It hurts a lot. It's more ego than anything, but it hurts my soul. It hurts my gut. I think I don't can't watch football for like 2 or 3 years at that point. I had to get away from it for a very long time. It messes with your psyche because all you knew at this point is I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. I'm a football player basically. And that's taken away. You don't know who you are. I didn't know who I was. I was trying to do other things, act, be a teacher with the country club. I had other things going on, but everywhere I went, they knew me as the football player. Everyone say, "Oh, what happened in the NFL?" So it's tough. It's very mentally tough, and you feel like you're a failure. I feel like I was a failure, and the only way I could make up for it was to be amazing in another field. Which no, my new field is acting and being in movies and Broadway shows and all these things. That was kind of like, okay, if I couldn't do that, I'm gonna do this. And so when it came to football, I isolated myself so much, and I hated it. I hated it, hated it, hated it. I didn't want to be around it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to do nothing. And that lasted for years. Lasted for years until I'd say about 3 or 4 years after I graduated. Well, I went to football games still too. Like Mizzou came to the East Coast sometimes. I went, but it wasn't until like 3 or 4 years after, and then I finally went back to my homecoming, and I kind of like free fell in love with football again based on the tailgates. That was the first time I went to a tailgate. The people treating me with love, um, the fans, old coaches. Like it felt like it felt like I let everything go that I once knew based on not wanting to be judged because of playing time, which sounds silly now because there was a lot of opportunities I missed out on, because I isolated myself away from my team. I didn't really talk to too many people from, college football. Well, not college, but the football team after I graduated because I was so just fed up and over it. I was mad. I was mad at everybody. I was mad at the world. And I just wanted to be away from all that. And then when I came back, it was kind of like, why did you do all that? And it's not that deep. When it's over, it's over. We can move on. And you're still, as we call it, a true son. And come back whenever you want. And you're family. And so when I finally got that, the love for football finally came back. And then, when I started doing content in 2021, I started covering sporting events, 2022, 2023. No, no. I started covering content in 2023, sporting events. And that really kind of brought the big love back. And so it's actually still kind of new. It's only 2025, but yeah, no, that's kind of like my football background and, how everything has came to be today. I hope it wasn't too long. Hope you guys understand. And, yeah, it's been a journey. I Today, I love going to football games. I love going to colleges. I always will have that. College isn't professional, but it damn near is now. And if you went to a D1 school and played football there, that's something nobody can take away from you, and that's a sort of a tally or a what do you call it? Like not an imprint, like a medal of honor to an extent towards most people because people always say, "Oh, you were a D1 athlete." I was, and there's a reputation that goes with that and a certain stigma, but at the same time, it can be a good stigma as well because you're held to a high expectation and it's something you should be proud of, not sulk about because things didn't go exactly your way. And I've had to learn that. And so I love going back to Mizzou. I love, being around the game. It brings me joy again. And, things happen in the past are in the past. It's all about what's you're going to do in the future. So, anyways, you guys, that is my football story. I know a little bit of sad one. I did not make the NFL. I was not an All-American, all these things that I envisioned and dreamed of. But what I am is a proud alumni of my college. I am a proud creator of sports content. I am, a confident young brother in this country, in this world, and, I'm definitely very knowledgeable about the sport as well. And I love that I got the chance to be in such a highly respectable and privileged position of being a D1 athlete at a good football, quality football school with a legendary head coach who has a Netflix special coming out in May. So check it out. I'll be reviewing that. But yeah, y'all, yeah. So that's everything when it comes to football. If you want to hear anything else that I mentioned about, if you want to hear like my track story, which, it's a story. I guess I got to put that in here somewhat. But if you want to hear any of the stories, I'm going to talk about my acting journey soon. That'll be something I talk about. Anything else you might want to hear, let me know in the comments. Did you like this video? Was it informative? Did it help you think? Did anyone learn anything off this video? I want to, help people at the end of the day. That's what, this channel is also meant to do. But yeah, y'all, the journey is not over yet. We still have other things to go. And, also, I guess I'll finish off where I'm at now. Since, 2023, I've been to several NFL playoff games, NFC championships, uh, on the field, Super Bowl week, Pro Bowl, college football playoffs. I've been to so many things that have been so amazing, and to have these experiences and then to kind of round them all out, and maybe not have the NFL journey I wanted, but the life journey I'm having, I wouldn't trade it. I get to do some amazing things, meet a bunch of great, cool, amazing people, and on my own terms. Not a lot of people can say that. So that's all my jabbering for the night, y'all. I appreciate you listening to my football story, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. So now you know a little more about me. Till next time, y'all. We out, y'all. Peace, blessings, deuces, and have a great rest of your day.